The Federal Road Safety Corps said 9 passengers sustained varying degrees of injuries in bonds in an auto crash on the Ogbomosho-Oyo Expressway. The sector commander in the state, Joshua Adekanye, who confirmed the incident in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria, said the accident, which occurred on Saturday, involved a trailer and a truck in the Shekona area along Ogbomosho-Oyo Expressway. Adekanye said that 9 out of the total 13 people involved in the accident got burnt, while 4 others escaped unhurt. According to Adekanye, the accident happened around 3:30 a.m. on Saturday, and the truck vehicle caught fire while the trailer collided with it. He said likely cause of the trailer colliding with the truck may be as a result of overspeeding or wrongful overtaking. The sector commander said the burnt victims were referred to the University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital for treatment, adding that the RS 11.31 Ogbomosho and RS 11.312 Olo commands conducted a rescue operation. Adekanye said other agencies that carried out the rescue operation are the Fire Service and Odo Oba Police Division. Mixed reactions have greeted the presentation of the 27.5 trillion naira budget presented by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the 2024 fiscal year to the joint session of the National Assembly. Some analysts and social commentators have alleged that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu presented empty boxes supposedly containing the 2024 budget to the National Assembly. The lawmakers also passed the document for a second reading on Friday after 2 days of debate and subsequently referred it to their committees on appropriation. After a closed-door session with the After the closed-door session with the subcommittee chairman under the Appropriation Committee, the chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriation, Adeola Solomon, said the allegation was totally wrong, even as he explained the details of the budget presentation.
I think you see all the papers today. There are sectorial releases of what the president presented to us. And you see, I don't know what, you know that the president's presentation is the first reading. The second reading is the debate of the general principle of the bill as contained in the speech of the president, which we debated for 2 days. And on Friday, the budget was submitted to us, and immediately we went to work and released all the sectorial releases which has been presented by the president to Nigerians, so that they will know which ministry gets what is going to which ministry. And after that is the details which will be worked with for the agency that will be appearing before us to defend their budget. So whoever is saying that, he doesn't know what he's saying. I know that part of the directive given by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is that all ministers at this point should ensure that they are on ground to defend their budgets before the National Assembly. And I know no head of agencies or parastatals will flout that order of the president. And we are working towards that. And from next week, you will see agencies coming up to defend their budget in the National Assembly.
The president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has declared that the ruling All Progressive Congress has come to stay in the South. Akpabio spoke while receiving the national executives of the party from South, led by the national vice chairman, Victor Giadom, who paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja. The report.
He expressed confidence that with its current performance, the party will do better in the region during future elections. He said indications of this were clearly shown by the performance of the party in the zone in the last general elections.
The only way we can pay back the national leadership of our party, the only way we can show appreciation to Mr. President for standing by the South to produce a Senate President after over 45 years, is for us to make sure that in 2027 we give him and the entire APC resounding victory in the 6 states of the South region. We won the presidential election in Rivers State, where the chairman comes from. It shows that things are bound to happen. And of course, for you to have made such appreciable effort in even winning in 2019, the whole of Bayelsa State, but for technical issues in the court, it shows clearly that APC has come to stay in the South region.
We are also here to encourage you to do all within your powers to continue to support the President, Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFRO, and ensure the success of his administration's renewed hope agenda. As the zonal ESCO of our great party in our region, we assure you of our continued support, particularly in ensuring that the APC wins more states in the South-South, and also in attracting dividends of democracy to the South-South geopolitical zone. We believe that with you, in partnership with the zonal ESCO, the socio-economic prosperity of our people will be guaranteed.
President of the Senate therefore charged leadership of the APC in the region to work assiduously to ensure that the APC win next year's governorship election in Edo State.
No fewer than 11 inmates of the Enugu Correctional Center have been released under the federal government's prison decongestion program. The inmates were drawn from the Enugu, Nsukka, as well as Oji River and Ibete Olo custodial centers. The inmates were handed over to the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who was in Enugu for their official release to their families and society. Recall that the Ministry of Interior flagged off the release of 4,068 inmates sentenced to various terms of imprisonment with the option of fine and compensation in the custodial centers nationwide. Now, speaking during the ceremony at the Enugu Maximum Correctional Center, the minister said that the gesture was part of measures to decongest custodial center and make them humane for proper reformation and rehabilitation to take place. He said that as at November 2023, there were about 80,804 inmates in 253 custodial facilities nationwide, whose total installed capacity was less than 50,000 inmates. Tunji-Ojo acknowledged that the alarming figures show that Nigeria's custodial facilities are overcrowded, necessitating the initiative targeted towards addressing the overcrowding conundrum bedeviling custodial centers and their reformatory function. The minister said that most of the inmates at the verge of regaining their freedom were indigents who could not afford to pay their fines and were languishing in custody. He disclosed that philanthropic individuals, groups, and corporate bodies raised the sum of 585 million naira only for their release as part of their corporate social responsibility. The minister advised the release of inmates to stay off crime and criminality, charging their immediate families and the society not to stigmatize them. The residents of Durumin area of Kano State have warned the likelihood disease outbreaks in the area due to the fecal pollution following alleged negligence of the custodial center in the area. According to Trust TV's finding, following the conditions, the deplorable conditions, of course, residents have been exposed to an unhealthy stench that oozes out of the center due to the lack of attention. Usman Balarabi tells us more.
Fecal pollution is a major threat to human health. Experts say it can cause diseases such as typhoid, hepatitis, dysentery, and cholera, among others, housing hundreds of families. This is Durumiya community, situated behind the Emir's Palace in Kano State. It is also behind an over centuries-old custodial center known as the Kurumawa Central Prison. Upon reaching this community, the stench of human feces engulfs the air. Trust TV's investigations traced the source of the stench to a drainage behind the high walls and barbed wire fence of the Kano Custodial Center, which houses over 1,500 inmates. Here, voluminous liters of human feces are released from the custodial center periodically through the drainage system and into the community's gutters. In this community, residents are protesting over how feces released from this Kano Central Prison endangers lives of many residents and affects businesses.
Daga can dai ina jin damo shi suke yi, tunda wani lokacin ma za ga har da guda-gudansa suke koro shi. Idan suka koro duk wanda yake bakin titi to bai sai zauna ba. To in sun koro shi ba mu samu ɗebo ruwan nan ba. Haka za mu haƙura har sai lokacin da muka yi dabara ko mu nemo aizal inda hali waɗanda Allah ya sa suna nan su zuba a ɗan kashe warin sannan a ɗebo ruwan nan. Kuma yanzu a ce inda ake ɗiban ruwa a wanka a alwala a girki yanzu a ce kuma ana ɗiban najasa kaga wata annoba za ta iya samuwa musamman ta kwalara da sauransu.
Guda mu ma nan akwai kawuna nan masu da muka kai shi asibiti shi ma yayi amai da gudawa. Akwai ran da ma'aikacin su ne ana aka zubo shi ma yayi amai din ana nan gurin ma ya ringa amai. So muna samun irin kuma aka ringa gani yara suna kuraje ko kaga ana gudawa haka a cikin gari wani lokacin da abubuwa haka.
The situation is more worrisome for women in the community.
Wallahi wari ai abun ba daɗi. Wallahi kullun turaren wuta duk wata na sai turaren wuta 5,000 to sun kara masa kuɗi a ranar sai mu sa su 3 turaren wuta tsakani da Allah air freshener mu sa na tsinke mu sa na hayaki a kullun haka miki saboda wannan warin
gaskiya an san da nake jin warin bana jin daɗi ji nake kamar zan amai sai dai dole in hakura in tashi in canza guri kafin wani lokaci amma yawanci wajen dare wajen tara haka suke sako shi.
Gaskiya hakan yana haifar min da illa saboda idan suka koro za ka ga duk kwastomomin sun tafi sai a bani da abincin bai kare ba in suka koro ruwan kashin yana haifar min da illa saboda sai kwastomomin da su tafi su ban min abincin bai kare ba wannan abincin shine rayuwata da ni da 'ya'yana.
A Texas-based Nigerian public health researcher in the United States of America, Dr. Abdulaziz Bako, explained that communities like Dreaming Ear risks a lot of human diseases.
Feces contain a lot of harmful organisms in addition to potentially harmful chemicals. Also, they contain a lot of harmful organisms. We call them pathogens. And these pathogens might cause a lot of human diseases, particularly gastrointestinal diseases. And examples of such diseases are cholera, dysentery, typhoid fever, salmonella infection, E. coli infection, hepatitis A, and a host of other diseases that might be caused by those pathogens.
But the Nigerian Correctional Service in Kano State says, though the service is concerned, such environmental issues are expected in overcrowded facilities.
So the service is concerned for the environmental complaint from the residents of the Kurumawa quarters where our facility is located. The facility, it was built in 1910 for over 100 years, and it was built to house 750 inmates. But right now, it locks more than 500 inmates. So this environmental issue is expected as a result of overcrowding. So it is not unintentional. It was as a result of the sewage, but a sewage disposal reservoir was built in the custodial center to control the spillage.
While the fall, although, makes it almost unbearable to live in the community, residents say they have already lost hope in government agencies.
Wallahi mun yi yunkuri mun rubuta takardu mun yi iyayenmu wallahi abin da ya gagara sai muke dauka ma mu wata kila kaman ba in Kano bane.
But the Kano State Ministry of Environment, which is responsible for regulating and monitoring environmental issues in the state, says it has not received any complaint from the community.
As a ministry and as a director of public enlightenment of the ministry, I think we had it now for the first time from you. So they should put it in writing, they should document it, make a case or make an appeal to the ministry. So when we receive the petition, or rather the complaint from the resident of that area, so definitely we are going to set our machinery and assign the director pollution control department of the ministry to go and ascertain the situation and assess and evaluate the cause or otherwise, and they will come back and advise professionally and adequately on what to do so that people in that area will not have such kind of inconveniences or faces as you rightly mentioned. So I think these are the procedure.
However, Trust TV obtained a copy of the latest letter written by the community to the State Commissioner of Environment, which was received and acknowledged by the Ministry on the 13th of September this year. While hope seems lost, residents of Dreaming Ear community are hopeful that an action is taken to allow them to have a certain feel beyond the Hamilton season.
The residents of Delta State have lamented the high cost of subscription for mobile data in Nigeria. And according to them, at a time when the cost of transportation is quite high, the services like internet subscription should not be out of people's reach to enable them keep in touch with their loved ones. Jonathan Awanyai reports.
Many subscribers to telecommunication services in Asaba, the Delta State capital, are bemoaning their fate as the cost of using the services as currently being provided by the telecoms operators have become almost impossible. Asaba residents maintain that it is becoming more difficult to keep pace with high cost of telecom services.
It is very, very alarming. And I think the NCC need to wake up to their duties, because these network providers, they have secretly, I repeat, secretly increased their data. Look at MTN, look at LTE, Glow and all. Some of them, the ones you use 1 gig for 300 before another, they are now 400, 350. I mean, these network providers are killing Nigerians secretly, and nobody is saying anything. Nobody is trying to caution them or to supervise them. I think NCC should wake up to their call, and this network provider should know that people are suffering. Because
when you make calls are even better than even the data. Because sometimes when you use, when you make your call, they will show your balance. The data, nothing like that. They will just cut your system.
Operation, due to the removal of the fuel subsidy, prices of everything, both consumable and services, have gone up. And when you look at the telecom, the cost of running BTS, the telecommunication, their services have really gone up, because maintaining a base station is somehow, you consider the diesel and other things they do to ensure that there is services, and there's bound to be increase in the prices in the rate of their data and other, the call and everything.
The same concerns runs through other respondents who complain bitterly about the high cost data services in the country, as they wondered why it has become so difficult for Nigerians to enjoy such services without breaking the banks. Jonathan Awaye, Trust TV News, Asaba.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up, students lament deplorable state of accommodation in institutions. These and more after the break. Stay with us.
The Nigerian Senate has confirmed the appointment of Olayemi Cardoso as House of Representatives.
Following extreme economic reforms of fuel subsidies.
Charge of the Semi-Command of the Nigeria Customs Service.
For the 10th National Assembly enhanced.
One after the other, the 23 Federal High Court justices take their oath of
this council while granting $1
trillion naira from the subsidy.
FIFA has confirmed. Spain, Portugal, and Morocco has been named as the co-hosts. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Update on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. We brought you 9 injured and others born in Ogbomosho Oyo Expressway accident. And the federal government sets 11 inmates free from Enugu Correctional Center. Now moving on to more stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says Nigeria is taking a significant step towards a sustainable and eco-friendly future by introducing a pioneering initiative to deploy a fleet of 100 electric buses. The president spoke at a high-level meeting with stakeholders and investors on the Nigerian carbon market and electric buses rollout program on Saturday in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, on the margins of the COP28 climate summit. The President Tinubu explained that the strategic initiative is aimed at significantly reducing Nigeria's carbon footprint and modernizing the country's transportation systems as part of the larger effort to position Nigeria and Africa as the pioneering frontier of green manufacturing and industrialization, with a focus on natural gas as a transition fuel alongside other renewable energy sources. To spearhead this transformative plan, the President announced the appointment of the Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Mr. Zach Adedeji, and the Director General of the National Council on Climate Change, Mr. Dahiru Salisu, to co-chair the Nigerian Carbon Market Activation Plan. Now, some students of the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, have lamented the deplorable state of accommodation in the institution. A cross-section of the students who shared their experiences with Trust TV revealed this challenge is negatively impacting their studies and academic productivity. The report.
In every educational institution, a conducive learning environment is necessary for a productive experience in school. However, for students at the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, the situation is different as they encounter numerous challenges in their campus life. Joseph Adiyeye is a 600-level student of medicine and surgery. Is the chairman, Alexander Brown Hall. Joseph and others want the school management to provide more space for the students as they usually encounter attacks from strangers outside the campus.
Not all clinical students are fully accommodated in Alexander Brown Hall. There are not enough spaces for all of us here.
And what implication does that have on the studies?
Okay, so for some students who are not accommodated, they have to stay off campus, and the MBBS program is a full-time course, 24/7 course. We need to be in the hospital most hours of the days and nights. So because they are off campus, it's difficult for them to fully access their studies.
What is paramount for us is the safety of ourselves and our members as a whole. So we have had instances where students were robbed, and for our course of studies, one that requires you to be on the wards late in the night. During exams, you are required to be on campus so you can be around your mates. But then due to the inadequacy of the bed spaces we have currently, we have students staying off campus, so they are prone to attacks during these periods. So yes, safety is one of the paramount issues that we are facing.
Most of us do not have accommodation because about 50% of us have to ballot for spaces, and at the end of the day, only about 50% end up being accommodated. As a result, students have to stay off campus or squat or sleep in the reading rooms, and this is not very ideal because most of us are exposed to a lot of risk. Yes, I had a classmate who was robbed on our way home. I also had another classmate who had a gunshot, and another who was assaulted by these unknown armed robbers.
Atimowo Feinfolua, a dental student, emphasizes the need for renewable energy in the hostels, citing frequent blackouts that hinder their ability to study for exams.
Recently, one of us was attacked by unknown armed men, and he was macheted in the left eye, and this was really a very horrific experience for him.
So, the colleague?
Yeah, my plea goes out to well-meaning Nigerians and bodies, agencies, the federal government out there, that they should help by financing and providing the necessary materials, necessary resources for the build-to-build project, so that we students, which are the future of this nation, will be properly and adequately accommodated.
Right, so I'd like to beg the federal government to please support the build-to-build program by sending sponsors and donations for our cost.
What to the federal government is for them to help us to raise support us with money, so that the building of this new accommodation will be completed as quick as possible, and this will enable physiotherapy students, 400 level, 300 level, 500 level, so we'll have more access to accommodation and spaces, and this will also help us to reduce the number of students going outside to go and look for accommodation and reduce the attack on our students.
In her reactions, the Provost College of Medicine said the management is aware of some of the plights of the students, assuring that they will be looked into in due course.
When I came back, we assessed the situation. We discovered about more than, over, like, let's say, approximately 50% of them were not able to get accommodation here in UCH. And many of our students were living off campus in places like Yemetu and other areas. And we've had reports of students who were, harassed. Students were beaten up. Their goods were stolen. They were assaulted. And that in itself is a problem when your students are not safe. There was even a case that was so unfortunate. I think they went to raid a house somewhere in this neighborhood, the police, and some of our students were there and they just carried them along, and we had to go, and the dean of students had to go and bail out students.
Meanwhile, efforts are underway to address the challenges faced by the students. The provost appeals to the federal government and well-meaning individuals to support the school in its quest to restore the hostels.
In a foreign scene, the Director General of the government's media office in Gaza has said that more than 700 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza during the last 24 hours. Hamas says captive prisoner swap talks will not resume until Israeli onslaught in Gaza ends. Israel pulled back its negotiators from Qatar on Saturday, saying Hamas violated terms of truce agreement. At least 15,207 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 7th. In Israel, the official death toll stands at about 1,200. And finally, in sports, Kevin Durant moved to 10th on the NBA all-time scoring list, but his Phoenix Suns were beaten by the Denver Nuggets. The 35-year-old went into the game needing about 17 points to move past Moses Malone and scored 30 to give him a career total of 27,423 points. However, it was not enough to stop his side falling to a 119-111 defeat. Nikola Jokic starred for Denver and scoring about 21 points and having 16 assists, while all 5 starters scored at least 15 points. And with that, we wrap up news updates on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentaries. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.